Good afternoon, folks. It's Marshy here, and I thought I'd open with an interesting story. Caught up with a coach earlier in the week who basically was just an external lens on what I'm doing with my LinkedIn game, my marketing, my content. And yeah, I'm doing all the right things according to this guy. He's awesome. His name's Adam Franklin. And he said, and you're reminding people of your newsletter, right? I'm like, oh, yeah, I kind of took the foot off the gas there because I stopped writing the AI one due to concerns and inability to hype myself up about the energy consumption. But segued to more to what I do in day-to-day work, which is early growth school. And so it's a newsletter on growth tips continuously each week, usually once or twice a week, little stories and anecdotes. And the anecdote this week was around the concept of business development because I caught up with my friend Jimmy. He's back from the UK. He's on a bit of a little mini sabbatical as he settles back into Australia. And bloody excited to catch up with this guy because he's originally from Traralgon, very smart guy, been active in the startup space in the UK. And so we had lots of about, but he's like, Marshy, how do you keep up? Like, how do you keep tabs on all these things that go on? It's a very good question. And so I'm going to give you a quick crash course on how I think about business development from that angle. So generally, you want to just keep your finger on the pulse for news in your niche. Now, my niche is the startup ecosystem, but your niche can be anything. It can be NDAS. It can be, IT and tech. It can be, the world of mortgage broking. And in any of these worlds, they've got newsletters, sort of media, trade media, and generally communities. And so you want to stay active in these ones. You can lurk in some of them, be really active in others, find what works for you. But this is what I do in my startup niche. And so I'm active on some newsletters that hit my main inbox. I've got a bigger list of newsletters that go to my burner Hotmail account. I'm just regularly skimming, say a few times a month, that one, and then keeping an eye on the other one. And the whole point of keeping an eye on isn't I don't have to read everything to the letter. It's more getting a sense of what the trends are, what's going on. Are there any interesting companies doing things that create talking points or entry points and things like that? And generally, I'm looking for ways to help directly, angles, so things to help indirectly. And there was another one I went, and like, this is much more rare, but sometimes there's people just straight up asking, hey, does anyone have your skill set? I want to hire you. And that's much more rare these days. And so anyway, that's my finger on the pulse. And then I'll give you some examples. So someone might be asking for help. Do you know anyone who works in food tech? Food scientist, startup background. And I'd be like, yeah, well, that doesn't help me directly, but yeah, I actually know a guy or girl or them within my Rolodex. I'll point them in the right direction and help. And that I just believe in that. I help many more people than I work with, and I just do that fastidiously. So that's one thing. Another bit is an angle. So an example here, there's a new ecosystem starting up in Melbourne, and I'm really excited to meet those guys. I went on site. They're doing all sorts of interesting, ambitious things around the world of ethical AI. And I'm like, they need some connectors, and I know some. So I sent them 4 different people, different areas of the Marshy spider web that may or may not work, but I think that's an angle that I can work because it's helping build an ecosystem by connecting with other people in the ecosystem. And while that's not immediate prosperity, I think it helps in the long run by being an advisor, a helpful partner, and things like that. And then the third example where, sometimes people just straight up ask for work. And so, it was a weird one, Sydney Startups Facebook group. And, hey, I need growth hacker sort of marketer type who's really good, and these are few and far between. And these things in the Facebook groups in particular are usually pylons, like people just pitch their service, and I was like, okay, well, if this is a serious thing and they want someone serious like they're describing, I'll say, hit me up on LinkedIn and here's my deets. And that's turning into something very exciting. So that's the world of business development. You don't know one angle of it, but you don't know which parts are going to work and when. And so the whole keeping the finger on the pulse and just finding angles to be helpful, work angles or just straight up reply to asks is a habit. It's a cadence, and a cadence that people like me do well or better. I know people much better than me at this game, but I've been a consultant for a long time now. I enjoy it, and I enjoy that thrill of the chase. And so, if that's interesting to you, and you'd like to get more advice about this stuff over time, either you're a founder or a small business owner that's emerging, yeah, just subscribe to the newsletter. It's not really hard to find, although I should do a better job at promoting it these days. lukemarshall.net/newsletter. Well, I'd love to have you. I'm very engaged with my audience. I give them lots of freebies and reply to things and shout outs and things like that. It's a lot of fun. Love to see you. Have a good rest of the week. Bye.